Sparrow speaks about all we is one. To what extent do you think one sentiment prevents the other?
I don't see them as contradictory, frankly, as working against one another. I think that all we is one is something that you find not only by Sparrow, of course. I mean, it's part of the motto of Jamaica, you know, a lot of the Caribbean, throughout the Caribbean. This whole dream of unity. Marley's statement about emancipation emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, in a way endorses that, you know, relates to it in the sense that presumably, if we can understand, if the continuation of self-enslavement has to do with seeing ourselves as separate, then part of that emancipation is the question of coming together. And it is something that I want to say that Marcus Garvey was very much aware of. Marcus Garvey talks about, he warns us that the days of slavery are not gone forever, that slavery can come back, and it will come back for people who refuse to recognize their strengths, okay, and to act in their own defense. So that the recognition of strength is about coming together. The strength is in the mass, is in the collective. Yeah? So one reinforces the next. The path to self-emancipation is about unity. Ashe.
Question right there?
Carolyn. Yeah. 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 Yes, 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 yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Carolyn Cooper from Jamaica, another dear colleague. Nice.
Yes, question?
You spoke briefly about the diasporic communities here, the diasporic communities and their roles. And I'm wondering to what extent we, as members of this particular diaspora, embrace or can embrace and expand the philosophies of Dr. Williams and looking at it in the context of the music and the culture, the methods and means of incorporating that and making it relevant for our children and our students.
Yeah, I think two things. I think one, in a sense, what Sparrow has indicated is that in some ways it's happening. In that, I mean, I understand, for instance, that when you have your carnival, Jean was telling me today, that everybody participates in it, not only Trinidadians and so on. So there's a sense in which, most organically, there is something happening. But I'm understanding your question as well. I just want to lay that. But I also think that there are ways in which the arts that we've tried and cultural formation that we have tried to institutionalize in some ways in the Caribbean, I think can also be adopted here. And there's a dialogue that's going on because it may not be strong in Miami, let us say, but certainly in London, for instance, the carnival arts are being taught. All right, so the calypso, there are workshops and programs in teaching carnival. That's just one example. We also do some of that in the Caribbean, yeah, in Trinidad, Italy, and Carolyn Cooper is there, and she teaches reggae. Right, she runs the Reggae Institute in Jamaica. So those programs could influence what you do here in ways that are not just the popular expressions of the arts. You know, when a calypsonian comes up and sings, or when you have your carnival and whatnot, that's fine. But we're talking now about ways in which you think these forms of culture can really impact future generations. Yeah? Yeah.
The reason I'm talking about that, at Harvard University, at Harvard, Henry Louis Gates has trying to think of the name of it, but his program particularly focuses on not just rhythm and blues, but like a hip hop exploration of how the music impacts culturally. And I can't remember completely the full title of it, but it's a broad scope where they have established essentially a program that explores how the music impacts America's culture and history.
Yeah.
And you can do your research at various level, undergraduate, graduate, postgraduate levels. And it's a fantastic place in terms of how they host and have not just, it's not a museum. It's a working research center that allows people who are involved in the culture itself or are looking to explore to look at the impact of this on the broader American culture. And I think that in that context, my question would be then, what are we doing in terms of our diasporic communities establishing centers of that sort?
Yeah. Well, essentially, I mean, it's a question that has to be answered from the base here. But what I know is that unlike what I know of in the UK, where I say there are educational programs related to the development of popular arts from the Caribbean, I'm not sure whether that happens here. Yeah?
I think a follow-up question I have is, what do you think of how Calypso, which is social commentary, has morphed into soca today, which sometimes gets interchangeably? And let's hear an extempo answer to that.
Yeah. You do.
Ladies and gents, I would like to say there's a big change in the Calypso thing today. Listen carefully to the relator. They move from Calypso, now they sing in soca. Believe it or not, I gonna tell you flat. There is one thing responsible for that. The reason why soca is sung by everybody is because these days it have plenty money. Simple.
I saw one question back there. Yes, please.
That no longer is the case, or it no longer.
Leroy, you have a question?
He used words eclectic, and then he says that's no longer in play or employ. So I'm wondering about what is taking place here in Miami, the transition that's going on. I think of it as Caribbean integration. 30 years ago, Caribbean integration was between the aisles. So I'm wondering the direction and what your ploy is on what is happening in Miami. I happened upon a couple of people, and I was in a coffee shop, and one of the young ladies was Haitian. And she was telling me what she wanted to do for her family and what her aspirations were. And I said to her, "You're going to tell yourself all that?" I said, do you go to church?" "Yes." I said, "Put money in church and send money home." So I'm wondering what your stance is on what's happening in Miami and relating to other countries.
Okay, I think the question is, can we become a more global world? And do you think Calypso might be something that we can use to become a more global world?
Yes. Yes. Calypso could be used to become a global world. Those are the words you choose, eh? I agree with that. And my madam, let me tell you flat, the lady wants to find out what is happening in Miami. I hope she did not pose that question to me. To tell her flat, I am very glad I don't live in Miami. I live in...
With that, I think it's an excellent way to conclude our wonderful program, and I will pass it over to Nikki now.
Fantastic job, Dr. Bucci. I have one question. I mean, as you went through your lecture and I was listening to, you know, it's essentially the history of politics in Trinidad and Tobago. If we listen to today's calypsos, and my daughter listened to it 20 years from now, she would find out we were what less? We got wet inside the fete. I mean, do you see calypsonians in Trinidad or soca artists or artists that will be able to, you know, you'll be able to look at, you know, in the future and say, we know what was going on in the island at the time? Do those still exist?
Well, my darling, at you, I don't want to frown. But I find some of the questions tonight, they are very long. And believe it or not, I will illustrate. When you ask a long question like that, I have to concentrate. It is my belief. We said before to try and make your questions brief. So what I'm saying, my friends, I am making sport. The questions are too long, my friends. Please make them. Yes, Calypso, let me answer that without the music, please. And on a serious note, Calypso is basically to inform, educate, and entertain. Okay? I would like to say and go on record here at FIU that Calypso is an underutilized database. Everything that has affected the human endeavor is recorded in Calypso. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. And we can go way back, as early as the Graf Zeppelin that landed in the Queen's Park Savannah in 1934 is documented in Calypso. When the gentleman marry a commoner, is love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne was recorded in Calypso. And you must remember this, the first attempt in space was by Sparrow. Murder, murder everywhere. These people should have a care. Murder, murder everywhere. I think these people should have a care. This time is really out of place. Over 2,000 miles in space, they poison the food for the puppy. Oh Lord, it is more than misery. Sing the chorus. They're trying their best, but they're making a mess with this Russian satellite. We should be all sent to prison for the dog that they poisoned in the Russian satellite. 2 Sputniks in disguise had everybody hypnotized. So now I am very sorry for the poor little puppy. And then Raul, this one is especially for this illustrious, you're very fortunate at FIU to have a great talent here like Mr. Raul Gibbons to come and speak to you tonight. And he's a gentle giant in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. But Cypher, it was one of my favorite calypsonians, and he was always able to take a serious situation and put some humor onto it. You remember the Rhodesia crisis? I will demonstrate. Where Ian Smith get all this power that he using up in Rhodesia? Where Ian Smith get all this power that he using up in Rhodesia? I read the Mirror, also the Guardian. And up to now, I can't understand. This man doesn't care what is wrong or right. He doing anything he like. This man declared Rhodesia independent just so, without the Queen's consent. He fired the present governor and then elect his own government. Now, where's Great Britain, who is fully in charge? When a madman like Smith still at large, I say, is to take down his pants, open it wide, and throw Jack Spanier inside. Thank you. So, my darling Nikki, it is recorded, it is documented, and feel free and feel assured that Calypso will never die. Because the documentation is there for everybody to enjoy and share.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like to invite Attorney Marlon Hill to come up and close out this evening.
Wondering if I need the guitar or not. Not this evening, Lord Beginner. Ladies and gentlemen, Erica Williams, Cornell, I don't know if we really realized this special moment that has happened here this evening. Really. Really and truly. I'm somewhat sorry that there are not more students here too, and hopefully they can see this video here at FIU. Professor Gibbons. Professor Relato. Class is over now, but you mentioned the Honorable Eric Williams and Spira as Warrior Kings, but both of you gentlemen tonight, really, it was just a special, special moment. A lot of people have long weeks and long days, things to do, but there's no other better moment than being here tonight. We toil and we toil, we toil. They say that 1 from 10 leaves, but 0 next to 10 equals plenty. 0 next to 10 equals plenty. And my job here this evening is to say thanks and to remind you that this lecture comes with your investment and your care. 0 next to 10 equals plenty, and it makes better politics. It makes better politics. So please, no stupidness tonight. My goal is to ask you to dame más dinero. Including the students, all the fetting that happened last week here in Miami Carnival. Average price of a fet, Nikki, was how much? Okay. You can spare. Tonight was worth way more than $40. I want to give special thanks to Lenore Cameron. Is Lenore here? Lenore Cameron, Dan Galloway's Herbal Gardens, Jennifer Jagbear, PAS Cargo, and Sylvia Worrell. On behalf of the many members of the community that are here this evening, here in this audience, at the back of your program, there are many of you who are recognized here. Please, if you see them, please say thanks to them. As we close here this evening for the 15th Annual Eric Williams Memorial Lecture, I want to remind you that you can make a contribution by check, credit card, go to the website. Any amount of dollars is welcome. There's an envelope that's included in your program. And like I said, 0 next to 10 equals plenty. Add as many zeros as you want. And even if your dollars are in Trinidad, Professor Relator, we will accept any money transfer. So thank you for being here tonight. And your dollars are very important to us because, like Professor Gibbons said, we need voluble participation. Because strength is the mass. Strength is mass in the collective. Right, Professor? And any judgment that we make of each other is a judgment of ourselves. So please, open your checkbook, make it count, do that tithing. Don't let me have to start preaching and having any church up in here because the investment is important. So please, dame más dinero. Have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you for the 16th annual.